The wedding dress of Empress Victoria. Victoria, who was the eldest daughter of Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom and Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg in Gotha, became the Empress of Germany and Queen of Prussia when she married Frederick III, the German Emperor. She was given the special title of Princess Royal in 1841, which is the title given to the eldest daughter of the sovereign. Before her younger brother Albert Edward, who later became King Edward VII, was born in November 1841, Victoria was considered the next in line to the throne. Her family affectionately called her Vicky. The engagement of Victoria and Frederick was announced to the public in May 1856. To support Victoria's marriage, the British Parliament provided a dowry of £40,000 and an annual allowance of £8,000. King Frederick William also offered an annual allowance of £9,000 for Frederick. However, their combined income was not enough to support their expected lifestyle. Victoria often had to rely on her own funds throughout their marriage. There was some debate about where the wedding should take place. Frederick's relatives preferred that the ceremony be held in Berlin, the capital of Prussia, but Queen Victoria insisted that her daughter should marry in her homeland, and eventually her wish was granted. Victoria married Prince Frederick of Prussia, who later became Frederick III, the German Emperor and King of Prussia, at St. James's Palace in London. On the 25th of January 1858, the world witnessed a grand union between two of Europe's most significant powers, Great Britain and the principal realm of Germany, Prussia. At the heart of this momentous occasion was Victoria, affectionately known as Vicky, Princess Royal, the eldest daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Her role as the bride carried immense importance, symbolising the alignment of these powerful nations. Accompanying Victoria were her 8 bridesmaids, each a noble daughter from esteemed families. They formed a radiant ensemble, enhancing the splendour of the royal affair. But it was Victoria's wedding attire that truly captured the imagination. Every detail of her dress was meticulously crafted to reflect both her regal status and the unity between nations. Created by the skilled hands of Mrs. Darvell and envisioned by Janet Fife, the gown was a masterpiece of elegance. Fashioned from exquisite white moire antique, the dress boasted intricate embellishments of Honiton lace. Delicate yet resplendent, the lace formed 3 flounces adorned with motifs symbolising the unity of England, Scotland and Ireland, the rose, shamrock and thistle respectively. Adorning the front of the dress were wreaths of orange and myrtle blossoms, the latter being a cherished symbol of German bridal tradition. These floral accents cascaded gracefully, evoking a sense of natural beauty and grace. At the pinnacle of this floral cascade sat a majestic bouquet, nestled upon the girdle, a symbol of prosperity and marital bliss. The train, a symbol of tradition and grandeur, extended for more than 3 yards, embellished with 2 rows of Honiton lace. Like a river of purity, it flowed behind Victoria, a testament to her royal lineage and the solemnity of the occasion. With every step, Victoria exuded poise and grace, her gown a testament to the enduring bond between nations and the timeless beauty of love. A procession consisting of 18 carriages and 300 soldiers travelled from Buckingham Palace to St. James's Palace. Queen Victoria and Vicky rode in the last carriage. At St. James's Palace they were greeted by Prince Albert and King Leopold I of Belgium, who was Victoria and Albert's uncle. Vicky's 4 brothers, dressed in Highland attire, accompanied the Queen, with Bertie and Alfred leading the way. Vicky's younger brothers and sisters followed, adorned in white lace over pink satin. Beatrice, the youngest, remained at Buckingham Palace due to her tender age. Fritz, accompanied by his father and uncle, followed, and finally Vicky descended the aisle with her father and great-uncle. The Archbishop of Canterbury presided over the service, although he omitted several parts due to nervousness. Queen Victoria was pleased with Vicky and Fritz's straightforward vows, and the ceremony concluded with Handel's Hallelujah chorus and the wedding march. Afterward, the party proceeded to the throne room to sign a marriage certificate. Vicky and Fritz led the procession back to Buckingham Palace, where a luncheon was held in the state dining room. The wedding cake, an elaborate structure adorned with cupids, medallions and statues, took centre stage. Other guests dined in the lower dining room. Following lunch, Vicky and Fritz appeared on the balcony, accompanied by their parents. Later, they departed for Windsor Castle for a 2-day honeymoon, greeted by fireworks and cheering crowds. The couple enjoyed activities such as walking and ice skating, and the family and guests joined them at Windsor Castle before Vicky and Fritz departed for Prussia. Tearful farewells ensued, with Queen Victoria expressing her heartache at their departure. The couple, accompanied by family members, departed for Gravesend, where they boarded a royal yacht bound for the European continent. After marrying Frederick III, Victoria faced rejection from the Berlin court. Victoria didn't get to be the Empress and Queen of Prussia for long. Her husband, Frederick III, passed away in 1888, just 99 days after becoming king, because of throat cancer. Their son, Wilhelm II, who had very different ideas from his parents, took over. After Frederick's death, people started calling Victoria Empress Frederick. She then moved to Kronberg im Taunus and built Friedrichshof, a castle named after her husband. But as time went on and her daughters got married, she felt more and more alone. Victoria died of breast cancer a few months after her mother passed away in 1901. There are lots of letters between Victoria and her parents. They've kept almost 3,777 letters from Queen Victoria to her oldest daughter, and around 4,000 letters from Victoria to her mother. These letters give a detailed peek into what life was like at the Prussian court from 1858 to 1900. The wedding dress of Princess Alice. Princess Alice was Grand Duchess of Hessen by Rhine from the 13th of June 1877 until she died in 1878. She was the wife of the Grand Duke Louis IV and the third child of Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom and Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Alice was the first of Queen Victoria's 9 children to pass away and one of 3 who died before their mother, who lived until 1901. Her life was marked by tragedy, beginning with her father's death in 1861. Alice got engaged to Prince Louis of Hesse on the 30th of April 1861, after getting her mother's approval. Queen Victoria convinced the Prime Minister, Lord Palmerston, to secure a dowry of £30,000 for Alice from Parliament, worth around £3.54 million in 2024. Though this was considered a generous amount at the time, Prince Albert noted that it was modest compared to what Alice's sister, Victoria, would inherit as the future Queen of Prussia and German Empress. The couple's future home in Darmstadt, the Grand Ducal seat, was also uncertain. Queen Victoria hoped for a new palace to be built, but the people of Darmstadt were unwilling to bear the cost. This controversy caused resentment towards Alice before she even arrived. Between Alice's engagement and the wedding, her father, Prince Albert, died on the 14th of December 1861. Despite her deep mourning, Queen Victoria insisted the wedding proceed as planned. Alice and Louis were married on the 1st of July 1862 in a private ceremony in the dining room of Osborne House, which was temporarily converted into a chapel. Queen Victoria was escorted in by her 4 sons, who acted as a screen to block her from view, and she sat near the altar. Alice was given away by her uncle Ernest II, Duke of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, Her 4 bridesmaids were her younger sisters, Princesses Helena, Louise and Beatrice, along with Louis' sister, Princess Anna. For her wedding ceremony, Alice donned a simple yet elegant white dress. The gown was complemented by a delicate veil of Honiton lace, adding a touch of traditional craftsmanship to her ensemble. To complete her bridal look, Alice wore a wreath made from orange blossom and myrtle, symbols of purity and love. Despite the beauty of her wedding attire, Alice's dress was unembellished, lacking the customary court train that often signifies royal weddings. In keeping with the sombre atmosphere, Alice was required to adhere to mourning customs. She wore black mourning clothes before and after the ceremony, a stark contrast to the simplicity of her wedding dress. This adherence to mourning attire underscored the period's strict conventions, even during significant personal milestones such as weddings. Amidst a subdued celebration, Queen Victoria and Prince Albert presented their daughter with a deeply sentimental gift, a gold bracelet adorned with diamonds and pearls. This exquisite piece of jewelry was more than just an ornament. It carried a heartfelt inscription. "To dear Alice, from her loving parents Albert and Victoria are, who though visibly parted, are ever united." The inscription poignantly reflected the unity and enduring love within the family, despite the physical absence of Prince Albert. The combination of Alice's simple, elegant dress and the meaningful gift from her parents painted a vivid picture of a wedding steeped in both tradition and personal sentiment. The Honiton lace veil and the wreath of orange blossoms and myrtle highlighted her purity and grace, while the mourning attire and the inscribed bracelet underscored the family's deep connection and their pervasive sense of loss. This blend of simplicity, elegance, and profound emotional significance made Alice's wedding attire and jewels a poignant symbol of her family's love and the era's traditions. The dining room was beautifully decorated with the altar set up beneath the large family portrait. Plant and flowers replaced all of the furniture, creating a charming atmosphere. The breakfast table for the royal guests in the council room was meticulously arranged. Taking a short drive, they then met dear Louis, who appeared nervous and emotional. Alice was already dressed before 1 p.m., radiating loveliness in her bridal attire. She wore a half-high dress adorned with a deep flounce of Honiton lace, accompanied by a matching veil and a wreath of orange blossoms and myrtle. Though she lacked a train, she proudly wore her order and a stunning opal cross and brooch. The 4 bridesmaids, including the 3 girls and Anna of Hesse, were elegantly attired in sprigged net over white with delicate pale mauve trimmings. As the time approached, in her sad cap, as baby called it, she descended with their 4 boys, Bertie and Affy, leading the way. It was a deeply emotional moment. The room, aside from the Archbishop of York, the Dean of Windsor, and Mr. Prothero near the altar, remained empty. Then guests and representatives from various households filled the space. Seated in an armchair with Bertie and Affy close by, they observed the Hessian family opposite, with Clementine Augustus nearby. With Louis, accompanied by Lord Sidney and his 2 brothers, William and Henry, entering first, followed by the dear bride, escorted by her uncle and the bridesmaids, the scene was profoundly moving. The service, conducted beautifully by the Archbishop, witnessed clear and signified responses from Alice and Louis. Though struggling with tears, she maintained composure throughout. After the service, dear Alice, still composed, embraced them, as she did with Louis, before they left the room, followed by the others. Later on, the couple, along with the Prince and Princess Charles, who displayed great emotion and kindness, and dear Fritz, gathered in the horn room. The Dean brought in the register for all to sign, with the family members signing in succession. Once farewells were exchanged with the guests, they retired upstairs for lunch with Alice and Louis, while the others dined downstairs. Following a quick sketch by Mr. Thomas, Alice changed into a white dress with a charming bonnet trimmed with orange blossoms. Her calm demeanour and poise remained unwavering throughout the day. By 4 p.m. the ceremony was over, and the couple set off their honeymoon at St. Clair in Ryde, on the Isle of Wight. The Queen, sitting in an armchair, struggled to hold back her tears, shielded from view by the Prince of Wales and her second son, Prince Alfred, who cried throughout the service. The weather at Osborne House was dreary, with winds blowing up from the Channel. The Queen wrote to her eldest daughter Victoria that the ceremony felt more like a funeral than a wedding, and she told Alfred, Lord Tennyson, that it was the saddest day I can remember. Alice's entourage for the honeymoon included Lady Churchill, General Seymour and Baron Wisweller, a Hessian courtier. Alice was careful not to displease the Queen after her marriage, when the Queen visited the couple at St. Clair. Alice tried not to appear too happy, but despite this effort, Alice's display of romantic bliss made the Queen jealous of her daughter's happiness. The wedding dress of Princess Helena. In the opulent setting of Windsor Castle, Princess Helena, born on the 25th of May 1846, daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, embarked on a journey of love and royalty. Amidst whispers of anticipation, her choice of attire captivated all. Clad in a gown of finest white satin, adorned with intricate Honiton lace, Helena radiated elegance and grace, her ensemble a testament to the timeless sophistication. As she walked down the aisle on the 5th of July 1866, accompanied by her mother, the Prince of Wales, and 8 bridesmaids, Helena embodied the essence of regal beauty, setting the stage for a wedding steeped in splendour and tradition. Princess Helena, who was born on the 25th of May 1846, was the third daughter and 5th child of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. In August 1865, Helena met a man named Christian for the first time. Queen Victoria and her 9 children went to Coburg to show off a statue of Prince Albert. Even though Christian was older by 15 years, Helena agreed to the idea of marrying him, but her brothers and sisters didn't like it. Alexandra, who was a Princess of Wales, was the most unhappy about it. She didn't want Christian to join the family because the territory that he came from had once belonged to her father before the war. Even Prince Albert Edward, who was Helena's brother and Alexandra's husband, didn't support the marriage because he wanted to make his wife happy. Helena's third sibling, Princess Alice, thought that their mother, Queen Victoria, was putting her own convenience over Helena's happiness by letting her marry someone who was much older. Many people at the wedding thought Christian looked more like an old uncle than a husband for Helena. But Helena's older sister Victoria and her husband, Crown Prince Frederick of Germany, were okay with it because they knew Christian for a very long time. Despite all of the arguments, Helena was sure about marrying Christian. They got engaged on the 5th of December 1865 and got married exactly 7 months later, on the 5th of July 1866. They were married at 12:30 in the private chapel at Windsor Castle. There were lots of important people at the wedding, like royals from Britain and other countries, members of Queen Victoria's staff, people from other countries, government workers, close friends, and important employees. Helena walked down the aisle with her mother, the Prince of Wales, and 8 bridesmaids. She wore a pretty silk dress with special lace, flowers in her hair, and jewellery that her mother gave her as a wedding present. Princess Helena's wedding dress was a vision of elegance and intricacy. Crafted from the finest white satin, it boasted deep flounces of Honiton lace, delicately adorned with intricate patterns of roses, ivy, and myrtle. The train flowing gracefully behind her was also fashioned from the same exquisite lace, embellished with bouquets of fragrant orange blossoms and myrtle, symbolizing love and fidelity. Upon her head, Helena wore a magnificent wreath fashioned from the same orange blossoms and myrtle, intertwined with a veil made of Honiton lace, perfectly complementing the design of her dress. Her jewellery was equally stunning, a testament to her royal status and the affection of her mother, Queen Victoria. A necklace, earrings and brooch, all adorned with opals and diamonds, adorned her with a subtle yet striking sparkle. These precious gems were a heartfelt wedding gift from her beloved mother, adding a touch of regal splendour to her ensemble. To complete her look, Helena wore bracelets set with delicate miniatures and the prestigious Royal Order of Victoria and Albert, a symbol of her esteemed status within the royal family. As she walked down the aisle, she exuded grace and poise, a true princess on her special day. The bridesmaids, 8 in total, were equally resplendent in their attire, clad in white dresses covered with layers of ethereal tulle. Their ensembles were topped with a long tunic of shimmering silver tulle, adding a touch of enchantment to their appearance. Adorned with delicate clusters of pink roses, forget-me-nots and white heather, their dresses were a testament to the beauty of nature. Upon their heads the bridesmaids wore wreaths crafted from the same exquisite flowers, their long tulle veils cascading gracefully down their backs. Each detail was carefully chosen to complement the bride's attire, creating a harmonious and magical ambience as they stood by Helena's side on her wedding day. The nuptial ceremony commenced at precisely 12:30 on the 5th of July 1866, within the confines of the private chapel nestled within the grandeur of Windsor Castle. Prior to this, at noon, esteemed members of the British royal lineage, along with distinguished guests, convened in the white drawing-room of the castle. Meanwhile, Princess Helena remained within Queen Victoria's private apartments, while her entourage assembled just outside. Prince Christian, accompanied by his supporters, awaited in the anticipation-filled ambience of the Red Room. Concurrently, the ladies and gentlemen of the Queen's household, together with foreign dignitaries, congregated in the adjacent corridor. Ambassadors, foreign ministers, and esteemed guests found their seats in the opulent red and green drawing-rooms before being escorted to their designated places. In readiness for the sacred union, the Archbishop of Canterbury, along with the clergy, convened in the audience chamber before proceeding to the private chapel to take their positions at the altar. As the final arrangements were made, the royal procession, guided by a Lord Chamberlain and Vice Chamberlain, commenced from the white drawing-room, while Prince Christian's entourage followed suit from the Red Room. Eventually, Princess Helena's procession, escorted by Queen Victoria, her brother, and bridesmaids, made its regal entrance. Upon reaching the altar, Helena gracefully took her place to the left, while Queen Victoria assumed her seat. The Archbishop Charles Longley presided over the ceremony, marked by firm responses from both Helena and Christian, the latter adorned with a discernible foreign accent. As the pivotal question of bestowal was posed, it was Queen Victoria who, with unwavering resolve, bestowed her daughter in lieu of her departed husband. With the ceremony concluded, Queen Victoria and the Prince of Wales tenderly embraced Helena, marking the union's end. Accompanied by the melodic strains of Ludwig Spohr's march, the newlywed couple, along with the distinguished assembly, proceeded to the white drawing-room to immortalise their union in the marriage registry. Following the ceremonial formalities, a lavish luncheon awaited members of the British royal family in the Oak Room, while other guests were regaled with a buffet in the Waterloo Chamber. At 4:15 p.m. those desiring to return to London embarked on a specially arranged train. Simultaneously, the bride and groom embarked on their journey to Southampton, where a boat awaited to ferry them to the Isle of Wight's Osborne House for their honeymoon. Later that evening, within the resplendent halls of Windsor Castle, a sumptuous banquet unfolded in the Waterloo Gallery, followed by an enchanting soirée in St. George's Hall, where mirth and revelry abounded. As the illustrious ceremony drew to a close, Princess Helena, adorned in a gown of exquisite white satin and delicate Honiton lace, epitomized timeless elegance and regal beauty on her wedding day at Windsor Castle. Surrounded by loved ones and adorned with opulent jewels gifted by her mother, Queen Victoria, Helena embarked on a journey of love and royalty with Prince Christian, her heart aglow with the promise of a lifetime of happiness. As the strains of music filled the air and the vows were exchanged, Helena's radiant presence illuminated the hallowed halls, leaving an undeniable mark on the hearts of all who bore witness to their union. The wedding dress of Princess Louise. Princess Louise was the sixth child and fourth daughter of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. In her public life, she advocated ardently for the arts, advanced education, and the feminist movement. She played a pivotal role in championing the Edinburgh College of Domestic Science, which later evolved into Queen Margaret University, serving as its inaugural patron from 1891 until 1939. Her formative years were spent traversing among the various royal residences alongside her family. Upon her father's demise in December 1861, the court entered a prolonged period of mourning, to which Louise gradually grew indifferent. Proficient in sculpture and artistry, several of her sculptural work endure to this day. She also aligned herself with the feminist cause, corresponding with Josephine Butler and paying visits to Elizabeth Garrett. Louise became betrothed to the Marquis of Lorne on the 3rd of October 1870 during their stay at Balmoral. Lorne was invited to Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where Louise, along with the Lord Chancellor, Lord Hatherley, and Queen Victoria's lady-in-waiting, Lady Ely, took a carriage ride. Subsequently, Louise returned and informed the Queen that Lorne had professed his affection for her, and she accepted his proposal with the Queen's blessing. To mark the occasion, the Queen bestowed Lady Ely with a bracelet. The Queen grappled with the prospect of parting with her daughter, confiding in her journal the poignant sense of loss that she felt. This deviation from royal tradition raised eyebrows, particularly in Germany. Queen Victoria corresponded with the Queen of Prussia, explaining that princes from modest German lineages faced disfavour in Britain, while Lord Lorne, possessing distinction and independent wealth, held a rank no lower than minor German royalty. Before Louise's nuptials, Victoria arranged for her to receive a stipend. The wedding took place at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle on the 21st of March, 1871, during such a sizable crowd that policemen had to form barriers for control, marking the first instance of such measures being required. Louise donned a wedding veil of her own design, crafted from Honiton lace, and was escorted into the chapel by her mother and her two elder brothers, the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Edinburgh. On this occasion, the Queen's sombre mourning attire was enlivened by the vivid hues of the Garter Star. Post-ceremony, the Queen bestowed a kiss upon Louise, and Lorne, now part of the royal fold, yet still a subject, kissed the Queen's hand. The newlyweds embarked on the journey to Claremont in Surrey for their honeymoon, albeit hindered by attendants who accompanied them. Ensuring privacy was a luxury that they couldn't afford, even during meal times. Despite this, the brief 4-day stay was devoid of interruptions, as the inquisitive Queen couldn't resist probing her daughter about her impressions of married life. Among the array of wedding gifts, a notable offering was a maplewood desk from Queen Victoria. As for the attire, Louise adorned herself in a resplendent white silk wedding gown, embellished with deep flounces of Honiton lace, strewn delicately with flowers. Trimmed with fragrant orange blossoms, ethereal white heather, and verdant myrtle, the gown boasted a train harmonizing seamlessly with the ensemble. Atop her head, a wreath intertwined with orange blossom and myrtle crowned her, while a short wedding veil of her own design, crafted from Honiton lace, gracefully adorned her visage. Secured in place by 2 of the 3 exquisite diamond daisy brooches gifted by her younger siblings, Prince Arthur, Prince Leopold, and Princess Beatrice, the veil exuded a regal charm. These dainty brooches, now in possession of the Princess Michael of Kent, formerly belonged to her husband, inherited from his mother, Princess Marina, Duchess of Kent. Louise's fondness for her great-nephew, Prince George, Duke of Kent, and his wife, Princess Marina, is evident, as she bequeathed several jewellery pieces, including the cherished diamond daisy brooches, to Marina upon her demise in 1939. A striking bracelet from her betrothed graced Louise's wrist, featuring a central sapphire encircled by diamonds and pearls with a pearl pendant, which doubled as a pendant ornament. Adorning her neck was a diamond necklace showcasing the pendant prominently, a sight immortalized in her wedding photographs. Additionally, she sported an emerald bracelet bestowed upon her by the Prince and Princess of Wales, along with a diamond bracelet with a storied history, once belonging to her maternal grandmother, the Duchess of Kent, formerly Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld, gifted by the Windsor populace. While Lorne's male relative donned kilts fashioned from the Campbell tartan, he opted for the uniform of the Royal Argyllshire Artillery Volunteers, adding a touch of military flair to the occasion. The bridesmaids, resplendent in their attire, donned dresses crafted from white grey silk, adorned with satin trimmings, and embellished with delicate gossamer tunics adorned with cerise roses, white heather, and sand ivy. Their heads were crowned with floral wreaths echoing the motifs of the dresses. Each bridesmaid wore a locket intricately crafted from crystal de roche, lavishly adorned with blue and white enamel, featuring a central purple scroll inscribed with Louise 1871, encircled by a wreath of roses and forget-me-nots. Suspended from a gold chain, the locket was affixed to a princess coronet studded with emeralds and rubies, attached to a true lover's knot of turquoise enamel, completing their enchanting ensemble. Guests arrived via a dedicated train from London, greeted at Windsor train station by carriages that whisked them to the entrance near Wolsey Chapel, now dubbed the Albert Memorial Chapel, where they were ushered to their designated seats. The groom's parents, the Duke and Duchess of Argyll, alongside other close relatives, arrived from Windsor Castle and were directed to their seats adjacent to the altar. Meanwhile, clergy involved in the ceremony took their positions at the altar, while members of the British royal family and other dignitaries gathered in the green drawing room at Windsor Castle. At the stroke of noon, the royal entourage was transported by carriages to the south entrance of St. George's Chapel. Making their way up the nave to their allocated seats in the choir, they were serenaded by the festal march, specially composed for Princess Louise's nuptials by the St. George's Chapel organist George Elvey. The bridegroom, accompanied by 2 supporters, arrived from Windsor Castle and was led into the Braid Chapel. Once all royalty had taken their places, Lorne was escorted to his spot near the altar, set to the backdrop of Handel's March, resonating from the organ. Meanwhile, the bridesmaids congregated at the west door at St. George's Chapel, awaiting the bride's arrival. At 12:15 p.m, Princess Louise, flanked by her supporters, including her mother Queen Victoria, her brother the Prince of Wales, and her paternal uncle Ernest II, Duke of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, along with their respective attendants, departed Windsor Castle in carriages for the short journey to West Door at St. James's Chapel. The bridal procession commenced at the west door, advancing through the nave to the choir, accompanied by music from the organ. Queen Victoria, who bestowed her daughter in marriage, sat close to the bride, alongside the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Saxe-Coburg in Gotha. The wedding rites were conducted by John Jackson, Bishop of London, in the absence of the Archbishop of Canterbury, while the choir harmonised with 2 songs composed by George Elfie and a chorus by Beethoven. Upon the conclusion of the ceremony, a royal salute echoed through the air as the newlyweds and the attending royalty exited St. George's Chapel via the west door. Following their return to Windsor Castle, the marriage registry was signed by the bride, groom, Queen Victoria, and other esteemed guests in the White Drawing Room. A sumptuous luncheon awaited the royal contingent in the Oak Room, while a buffet luncheon catered to other attendees in the Waterloo Gallery. The piece de resistance, the wedding cake, stood a towering 5 feet high, weighing over 225 pounds, adorned with cherubs, flowers, Corinthian columns, and intricate icing work by Queen Victoria's master confectioner. At 3:30 p.m, a special train whisked the guests back to London, while the newlyweds departed Windsor Castle at 4 p.m. for a 4-day honeymoon at Claremont House in Surrey. Attended by Lady Jane Spencer, Baroness Churchill, and Colonel George Conyngham, Earl of Mount Charles. Later in the evening, a lavish banquet unfolded in the Waterloo Chamber, followed by an enchanting soirée in St. George's Hall. As Princess Louise embarked on this new chapter of her life, her timeless elegance and grace shone brightly, leaving an undeniable mark on the annals of royal history. The wedding dress of Princess Beatrice. In today's video, we will explore the wedding dress of Princess Beatrice, a stunning ensemble that epitomizes regal elegance and timeless beauty. From its meticulously crafted design to the intricate details that adorned her attire, Princess Beatrice's wedding gown captured the essence of royal sophistication. Join us as we delve into the story behind the breathtaking masterpiece and uncover the exquisite elements that made her wedding day truly unforgettable. Princess Beatrice made her grand entrance into the world on the 14th of April 1857 within the opulent walls of Buckingham Palace in London. Born to Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom and Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg in Gotha, she held the distinguished title of being the youngest among her 8 siblings. Tragedy struck the family on the 14th of December 1861, when Prince Albert passed away at the tender age of 42. Beatrice, merely 4.5 years old at the time, was thrust into a world of mourning, robbed of one of her primary sources of guidance and inspiration. The loss of Prince Albert plunged Queen Victoria into a deep abyss of sorrow. On the fateful night of his passing, she sought solace in the presence of her slumbering daughter, Beatrice. Clutching the child tightly, she found herself unable to find rest, enveloped in the linens that once embraced her beloved husband. This profound grief would forever shape Beatrice's journey, as she became a steadfast source of comfort to her mourning mother. Throughout the years, Queen Victoria clung to the hope that Beatrice would remain an unwavering companion, a beacon of support in the wake of her profound loss. Despite the shadow cast by her father's untimely demise, Beatrice's education continued according to Prince Albert's meticulous plans for his children. She immersed herself in the intricacies of French and German while embarking on enlightening journeys to historical landmarks. Unlike her mother, Beatrice possessed a remarkable penmanship and an impeccable command of spelling. By the age of 15, she assumed the responsibility of corresponding on behalf of Queen Victoria, blossoming into an attentive and dutiful aide that her mother had yearned for. As her sisters ventured into matrimony and distant homes, Beatrice dutifully stepped into the role of her mother's devoted assistant. When Beatrice broached the topic of marriage upon her return from Darmstadt, Queen Victoria's response was chillingly silent. For 7 agonizing months, mother and daughter existed side by side, their communication relegated to written exchanges. The Queen's unexpected withdrawal stemmed from the fear of losing her cherished daughter. To Queen Victoria, Beatrice was her baby, the epitome of innocence, and the notion of her embracing physical intimacy within marriage marked the end of that innocence. It took the gentle persuasions of the Princess of Wales and the Crown Princess of Prussia to thaw the Queen's icy resolve. Reminding her of the joy Beatrice had brought to Prince Albert's life, they coaxed Queen Victoria into reopening communication with her daughter. Reluctantly, the Queen consented to Beatrice's marriage under the condition that her prospective husband, Henry, forsake the German ties and permanently reside with Beatrice and the Queen. So what was Princess Beatrice's wedding attire? Her wedding attire was a breathtaking masterpiece, meticulously crafted to exude regal elegance and timeless beauty. Her gown, fashioned from the purest white satin, was a vision of sophistication and grace. Delicate orange blossoms, white heather, myrtle, and intricate lace adorned the gown, adding ethereal charm to its already exquisite design. Lace adorned the gown's pointed neckline and cascaded down the sleeves, a testament to Beatrice's adoration for this delicate fabric. Her affinity for lace had grown to such expertise that Queen Victoria bestowed upon her the honour of wearing the cherished Honiton lace veil from her own wedding day, a privilege reserved solely for Beatrice among her siblings. Atop Beatrice's resplendent locks rested a crown of fragrant orange blossoms, intertwined with a glistening diamond circlet adorned with radiant stars, a heartfelt gift from her mother, Queen Victoria. Her ears glimmered with diamond collet drop earrings, while a diamond collet necklace graced her neck, featuring a magnificent diamond cross pendant. Adoring her ensemble were an array of sparkling brooches, a diamond bee, a diamond rose, and a grand diamond butterfly, each adding a touch of opulence to her attire. Her wrists bore the weight of precious jewels, a wide diamond and sapphire bracelet, a token of affection from her beloved groom, and a collection of 5 bangle bracelets, some adorned with dazzling diamonds, others fashioned from simple yet elegant gold. Among the insignias of her illustrious lineage, Beatrice proudly displayed the Order of Victoria and Albert, the Crown of India, the Gold Lion of Hesse, the Royal Red Cross, and the distinguished Saxe-Coburg and Gotha family order. In her resplendent ensemble, Princess Beatrice radiated a timeless beauty and an aura of regal sophistication, embodying the epitome of grace and refinement on her wedding day. The morning of Princess Beatrice's wedding dawned with great anticipation, marked by a special train journey from Victoria Station in London, laden with esteemed wedding guests, members of the Queen's household, and dignitaries. The train embarked for Portsmouth, where the majestic royal yacht Alberta awaited to ferry them across the Solent to the picturesque Isle of Wight. Carriages whisked them away to St. Mildred's Church in Whippingham, where Her Majesty's gentlemen ushers graciously guided them to their seats. At precisely 12:40, the distinguished clergy, including the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Bishop of Winchester, and the Dean of Windsor, and the Rector of St. Mildred's, accompanied by the choir, solemnly entered the church. Meanwhile, the royal family commenced a grand procession from Osborne House. Greeted at the church gate by dignitaries, they were ushered to the regal pews. As anticipation reached its crescendo, the bridal party made their entrance. The 10 radiant royal bridesmaids, followed by the groom and his supporters, graced the church. The arrival of the bride, escorted by Queen Victoria and the Prince of Wales, signalled the commencement of Wagner's ethereal bridal march. With Queen Victoria's blessing, Princess Beatrice embarked on her journey down the aisle, radiating elegance and poise. The couple exchanged vows amidst the melodic strains of Mendelssohn's anthem, "O Give Thanks to the Lord." Following the ceremony, jubilant strains of the wedding march accompanied the newlyweds and their entourage as they made their triumphant exit. Back at Osborne House, amidst a backdrop of royal splendour, the marriage registry was solemnly signed, witnessed by Queen Victoria, esteemed members of the royal family, and distinguished guests. A lavish luncheon unfolded on the sprawling lawn, where guests revelled in culinary delights serenaded by the harmonious melodies of the Royal Marines and the Sutherland Highlander pipers. The piece de resistance, a towering confection crafted by the esteemed royal confectioner Mr. Ponder, stood proudly at 6 feet tall, weighing a staggering 280 pounds. The cake captivated all with its magnificence. As the sun began its descent, Princess Beatrice and Prince Henry embarked on their honeymoon to the nearby Croix Abbey house, accompanied by dear companions. Evening festivities ensued, with a sumptuous dinner amid the tented splendour of the lawn, enlivened by the melodic strains of the Royal Marines' Light Infantry Band. The enchantment continued as guests gathered on the terrace of Osborne House, marvelling at a breathtaking display of fireworks illuminating the sky, courtesy of the royal yacht Victorian Albert, HMS Hector, and other vessels in Osborne Bay. As we conclude our exploration of Princess Beatrice's wedding dress, we're reminded of the timeless allure and grace that defined her special day. From the delicate lace to the radiant jewels, every detail of her ensemble reflected her regal lineage and undeniable elegance. Join us again for more captivating insights into royal fashion and history. Thank you for watching.